Welcome back to Review Tim's LL. In today's video, we will be going through the movie The Monuments Men. It's time to review, so let's get started. Spoilers ahead. The movie is set in March 1943 in Paris when France was captured by the Nazis. A vehicle carrying General Hermann Göring approaches an art gallery building where a military officer, Stahl, receives him and accompanies him inside. The general is impressed by the beautiful French paintings and art pieces and expresses his desire to take them to Karrenhall and present them to Führer Hitler. He appreciates Stahl's capture of the art pieces from French museums. Meanwhile, priests in Belgium are working hard at night to keep their art safe from the Germans. They pack them securely and load them onto a truck to move them to a safer place. In the next scene, Frank Stokes, a curator at the Metropolitan Museum of Art in New York, is seen convincing President Roosevelt of the importance of sending a team of experts to protect and recover cultural treasures in danger of being lost to the Nazis forever due to the war. Stokes suggests assembling a team of art scholars to collect and preserve art pieces in war-torn countries. The president agrees and allows him to assemble a team for the work. Stokes assembles a team of 7 experts, each with a different area of expertise, including a sculptor James Granger, a museum curator Richard Campbell, and an art restorer Walter Garfield. He names this team the Monuments Men. When they reach the air base for their initial war training, Stokes introduces them to an English officer, Donald Jeffries, an American art school co-founder, Preston Savetz, and a French man, Jean-Claude. He briefs them about their mission in a unit camp, telling them about Hitler's ambitions to build his own Führer Museum in his hometown of Linz in Austria. He says Hitler is already stealing well-known art from different war-torn countries to make his museum the largest art museum in the world. He also informs them that his Nazi troops are still stealing art from different locations in Europe. He briefs them that their duty is to protect the art from the Germans at any cost. In the next scene, the Monuments Men reach Normandy Beach, and Stokes submits an application to the lieutenant to give them some troops for their mission and safety. The lieutenant refuses, saying that they are at war to preserve human lives first. Then, the Monuments Men come out of the camp and start working on their own. Suddenly, Stokes finds one of his old Jewish army officer friends, Sam Epstein, while collecting army gear from the base. He takes him to Lisieux, another part of Normandy, and asks for his other old friend, Major Fielding. After some time, Fielding comes to him and welcomes him. He shows him some wooden crates with incredible art pieces inside them. He tells him that they took a convoy of Germans who were taking them out of France. He asks him to let him investigate the Germans. With the help of an interpreter, he asks them about the other paintings and the stolen art, but they do not open up to him. Meanwhile, he signals to Sam, who understands German, to listen to the Germans when they talk. Sam listens to them as they whisper while pretending to smoke behind the truck. He tells everything to Stokes, that they were going to Siegen town. He also informs him that the captain has switched uniforms with one of his sergeants to trick them. While in Paris, Stahl waits for his gallery assistant Claire in her apartment. He tells her that one of the German convoys has been captured by the Allied forces and that they have killed the informers, including her brother. He warns her that he will hand her over to the SS if he finds her involvement too. The next moment, she runs to the gallery to see the artworks. But she finds out that Stahl has taken all the stuff with him on the train. She yells at him, but he fires at her to threaten her, but she remains still. In the next scene, Stokes gathers all of his monument men at a table in some part of the city. He orders Preston Savetz and Richard Campbell to go to Ghent in Belgium, and Jean-Claude and Garfield to go to the city of Aachen in Germany. After assigning the projects to recover and preserve the art pieces, they leave. After some time, James was hosted by a French man named Emile. He rode in Emile's horse cart and was taken to see his hidden plane. They started their flight from the fields and headed to Paris. James became excited when he saw Paris from the sky. They turned toward the city and landed there. James went to the National Art Gallery and met his old friend René, who worked as an art curator at the gallery. When René learned about James' mission, he told him that the national collection was safe, but the private collection had been stolen by Hitler's men. He informed James that Nazi commander Hermann Göring had taken all the masterpieces to Germany. René suggested that the gallery assistant Claire would be able to help James. James went to her and told her that he would convince the authorities to let her out because she had been charged with collaborating with the Germans to steal art from the gallery. She did not believe him and said they would just steal their stolen art too. In the next scene, Preston reached Ghent in Belgium. The priest informed him that the art pieces from the church had also been stolen by the Germans. He called Stokes and told him everything about the stolen art from the church. After this, he left Campbell in the room and went out for a walk. Suddenly, a German soldier appeared behind the trees and pointed a gun at him. Meanwhile, Campbell came out and aimed his gun at the German. He asked the man to put down the gun and go his own way, assuring him that they would not harm him. However, the German did not understand English and did not move. Campbell sat down on the grass and gestured for the man to do the same. They both sat down, and Campbell then threw a pack of cigarettes in front of the man as a friendly gesture. They both smoked, and eventually, the German left. Later, while Claude was speaking with the priest about the stolen art, a sniper shot at them. They immediately took shelter behind the pillars. Claude instructed Garfield to distract the shooter while he ran inside the building. Garfield started firing at the windows of the building while Claude went inside. After searching through the floors, Claude found the shooter, who turned out to be a teenage boy. The boy immediately surrendered to Claude, fearing for his life. That night, Jeffries went to the colonel of the town Bruges to request permission to enter the town. When the colonel asked him why he needed permission, Jeffries explained that he was an art specialist and was there to protect the paintings. The colonel informed him that he could enter the town due to a security deal with the mayor of Bruges. Disappointed, Jeffries took his bicycle and rode to town on his own. He crossed many streets and eventually reached a church where he saw the sculpture of Madonna and Child. He found many priests there and asked them to help hide the sculpture. Shortly after, some Germans came to the church and began packing the sculpture. Jeffries saw them and hid himself while loading his pistol. The German lieutenant heard him and came from behind the pillar, shooting at him immediately and leading to his death. The Germans took the sculpture afterward. After some time, Hitler signed a directive in which he stated that if anything happened to him or Germany fell, all German possessions would be destroyed. James showed this Nero decree to Claire and asked for her help. She agreed to assist him, saying that they had taken the art to Germany, so they should not be there to retrieve the stolen art. James forwarded the letter to his teammates in Germany. Stokes received the Nero decree and ordered his men to go to different towns in Germany to find the stolen art. He ordered them to search in Siegen, Merkers, and Nuremberg. While in the town, Campbell felt a toothache and went to the dentist afterward. The dentist talked about his dentistry and asked about their professions. When Preston told him that they were art collectors from New York, the dentist told them that his nephew was also an artist. They all went to the nephew's house, where Preston inspected his paintings and was impressed to find that they were original pieces. However, the nephew claimed that they were copies. Preston became suspicious, and Campbell drew his pistol out at the table. The nephew, who was actually Stahl, was in the gallery with the German commander Hermann. They took him to the base afterward. On the other hand, Jean-Claude and Garfield stopped their van in a field to let Claude have a look at the horse. Garfield saw some American soldiers hidden behind the bushes and called Claude to keep moving from there. Meanwhile, Claude noticed some movements in the bushes too. He walked nervously, but when he heard a twig snap, he ran from there. The German soldiers shot them while the American soldiers responded from their side of the bushes. Garfield drove his van away but could not save Claude, who eventually died because of excessive bleeding. In the next scene, Preston and Campbell told Stokes and others that they had searched the farmhouse of Stahl and found some maps. They showed them the maps but accepted that they could not find the stolen art in the marked locations. Sam told them the meaning of the specific word Zaltz on the map. He said that the word stood for mine. Now they all understood the secret of the art locations. They all decided to check the salt mine of Siegen. In the morning, they all got there and found 1,600 pieces of the stolen art. Stokes wrote about this to James and ordered him to come back to them. When he got the letter, he prepared to leave, but he found Claire sitting in a restaurant. He waved at her, but she called him in. She showed him that his men were in the newspaper and invited him to come to her apartment for dinner. At night, he went to her place where she showed him photographs of the Nazi art thieves. She told him about the connection between Stahl and Commander Hermann. She even handed him her handwritten copy of art records and told him that he should find most of the art in the castle in the Bavarian Alps in Neuschwanstein. After that, he thanked her and left. The scene shifted to Merker's mine where James met his fellow monument men. Meanwhile, Campbell and Sam were taking another sculpture to the ground. Campbell asked him to find a lantern from there. When Sam went inside, he found tiles of gold. Campbell followed him and turned on the lights. They found the room filled with tons of gold. This caused a huge blow to the German government, and it went bankrupt. After this news, a German officer ordered his men to burn all the art pieces in another mine. The next day, the monument men went to the mine and found everything burnt. Meanwhile, James accidentally stepped on a landmine. The men tried to remove him from the spot, and after some time, James stepped off the mine, which caused a small explosion. They then searched the mine for the art but found barrels full of gold teeth and rings. They became sad, thinking about the horrors of the death camps, and did not speak to each other, remaining gloomy while coming out of the mine. In the next scene, they traveled to the castle in the Bavarian Alps and found numerous art statues, sculptures, and paintings there. They gazed at the art pieces, pondering about their significance, when suddenly Garfield discovered another mine in Altaussee where the Germans had hidden more pieces of art. They wasted no time and headed straight to the mine. Upon arriving, Stokes was informed by the in charge that they had captured a German colonel. He went to the colonel and asked him about the burnt art pieces. The colonel replied that the war was over and he would be released according to the Geneva Conventions. Stokes warned him that he wouldn't be released due to his war crimes in the death camps. The colonel refused to cooperate, so Stokes left and ordered his men to retrieve the mine's diagram. Meanwhile, the in charge informed him that they had received orders to evacuate the area as the Russians were approaching. They blew up the mine's blockage and entered it, while the Russians heard the explosion and headed to the site. The monument men worked swiftly to evacuate as much artwork as possible, filling their truck before departing from the mine just moments before the Soviets arrived. Some time later, Stokes was seen briefing the president once again on their successful work in Europe. He informed him that all the artwork had been returned to its rightful owners, but that they had lost 2 men in the mission. The movie concluded in 1977, displaying the sculpture of Madonna and Child in Bruges, Belgium. Thanks for watching. As always, you'll find the movie title in the video's description. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the awesome review.